Hello and welcome to the Man Games. This is another episode of Fun with Figures. Today it's a bit of a random episode. We're just going to look at some random wrestlers really from through the times and some of the accessories that came with the wrestlers. So first off we're going to start with a head flip figure. It is a Batista figure. Like I've said in previous episodes before, these are actually my nephew's toys. I remember this was one of his favourite Batista figures he had. I remember him drawing a picture of this at school, which was really good. So obviously you clip the legs together and he becomes Angry Batista. So you have to really squeeze on. If I do it like this, happy, grumpy, happy, grumpy. So yeah, I mean they've got the tattoos there on the figure, little belly button tattoo there, the dragon tattoo on the back. I can't say this is a figure really you'd want to actually play wrestling with, but it is, it's something good to maybe have on a shelf somewhere to look at. So yeah, first on today is this Batista figure. Next up we have a guitar. I'm not sure if this is meant to be Jeff Jarrett's or Elias's or the Honky Tonk Man's. The strap's unfortunately broken. I believe there was a set of figures with Edge and Christian that came with a guitar, so I'm not sure whose that is, but yep, that is some wrestler's guitar. Next up we have a steel chair. Now I know this isn't actually very interesting, so we'll just see if an actual figure will sit on it. So yep, the chair actually does work, it doesn't just break and fall over. So yep, that was a steel chair. Next up we have a figure of Jake the Snake. Now this is one of the Hasbro figures. Now this is probably the first figure I ever had as a child, as a wrestling figure. I believe I had this figure when I didn't even know he was a wrestler. You can see there on the trousers he's got a purple snake on them, and he's got snake skin boots on. You could pull the arm back in this figure and punch the wrestler. I didn't actually know this till later on. I never really understood why there was a spring in there. Maybe I was just a bit dim, maybe. There is quite a lot of marks on the face there, but obviously this figure was made in the early 90s, I believe. I will just check. Yep, 1990 it says on there. So yeah, that is the Hasbro Jake the Snake figure. That figure did come with a snake originally in the original packaging. Just thought I'd mention that. Next up we have a Money in the Bank briefcase. This came with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. Fortunately there's nothing in it, so yep, that is the briefcase there. Next up there is a set of weights. I believe this came with the Scott Steiner we've looked at in the TNA episode, which I accidentally called Scott Hall. Maybe just because Scott Hall is a much better wrestler than Scott Steiner, maybe, but that's just my opinion. So yeah, set of weights, very interesting. Next up we have a Big Boss Man figure. So yeah, I believe this came with the truncheon that that he used to carry to the ring. There is also another Big Boss Man figure out there, which is more common. This is the more rarer one, I do believe. That used to be more of a clotheslining kind of figure, and obviously you could put the truncheon in either arm. Obviously this figure's been well played with. Obviously over time he has a lot of paint missing from the forehead, and obviously half of his boot is missing, I've just noticed. Yeah, so that was the Big Boss Man. Next up we have a trash can. Unfortunately the lid has since disappeared. So yeah, trash can there. Also we have another Money in the Bank briefcase. This is more based on the early days of the Money in the Bank briefcase when Edge had it. So yeah, just a plain briefcase there. And next up we have, I believe this belonged to a Scotty Twatty figure. It says Too Cool on the back there. Unfortunately, we do not have the Scotty Twatty figure at the moment. Hopefully in a future episode we will have maybe come back across it. So yeah, that is the jacket there. Next up today we have two ladders. So a smaller ladder and the larger ladder. I believe the larger ladder came with a Seth Rollins figure. The smaller one probably came with a Hardy Boy figure, I would have thought. So yeah, that is the ladders. Next up we have a Randy Orton there. I think this might have come with a Triple H in a double pack. Just guessing on it. I think this is one of them figures that came in a double pack, but they also released separately as well. Really like the tattoos on this figure. They have actually even got the red rose in there, but I really like when the toy makers, shall we call them, put the effort in and make sure that all the tattoos are right and in the right place. Obviously, some wrestlers, they can't put all the tattoos in for copyright purposes, but so yeah, that is Randy Orton. So next up we have a Batista figure. Now this Batista figure has a bit of a dodgy arm, so we'll just go a bit careful with it. So yeah, this figure obviously has been well played with, that's why it has a dodgy arm. I believe this figure came with a JBL figure. JBL was in a black t-shirt and trunks. You can see the tattoo on the back there of Batista, a few marks there on the arm. So yeah, that's the Animal Batista. I'll quickly put that to the side because I don't want to damage the arm anymore. Next up we have a Macho King Randy Savage. So obviously he came with a crown. This is when he won the King of the Ring. That is why it's called Macho King. You can see the Macho King there on his trunks. This is another figure that I had previous. I think I had this before I even started watching wrestling. So yeah, that is Macho Man. Obviously you can see there on the knee pads also they have worn away slightly. So that's Macho King. Next up, this is a figure we already have looked at once before, but I have a second one, so that's why I thought I'd add it into this. So yeah, it is the same Boogeyman figure we've looked at before, but obviously he's missing the tassels around the neck. Same as the first one we've looked at, they're in good condition. It's not looked like it has any marks on. One of the things I pointed out last time is, it's a bit hard to play with the leg movements, but then maybe that's why this figure is in good condition. So yeah, that is the Boogeyman. And next up we have a couple more accessories. There is the mask, which I believe Cody Rhodes wore when he was doing his Dashing Cody Rhodes gimmick, and Rey Mysterio had 619'd him. And he no longer thought he was dashing, so he was wearing this mask. And here we see next is, nope, you don't see because it was not on camera. So that's just a lead pipe that, this accessory came with quite a few wrestlers. And then lastly today we're going to look at is a Earl Hebner figure. Now this figure was in the Royal Rumble line of figures. There was also a Ric Flair in that range. I believe there might have been a Taz also. Other than that, I can't actually remember who else was in that range. This came with the ring bell. I'm not sure if that is meant to have something to do with the Montreal screw job. Obviously, this was a lot of time after that. But why else would... I mean, I know the referee signals for the bell. But so that might just be a coincidence. So, yeah, this figure has been well played with. There's a few marks there on the head. I can imagine this was a popular figure for children to buy back in the day, because I think it was the first 6-inch figure that was available. Yeah, you need a referee in your matches, so I can imagine this was a popular choice for the children. So yeah, that is it for today's episode on Fun with Figures. It has been a bit of a, we've looked at a few random accessories for figures and also a few figures itself. If you did like this video, please let us know in the comments. leave us a like, subscribe to the channel. Also check out the 2K20 content on the channel and the Wrestle Crate unboxing, which is on the channel also. There is now obviously quite a few of these episodes on the channel, so if this is your first time watching Fun with Figures, go out and check some more. So that is everything from today. Bye from the Man Games.